Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as we welcome a very special guest. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry, and on this special episode of the show, we welcome the Philadelphia Flyers goalie Tommy Söderström. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers.
Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. I'm your host, Lance Green.
And I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers. And holy smokes, we have got a very, very special show for you today, folks. We got a really special guest lined up here. We got two goalies in the house. We got Lance Green, the writer extraordinaire, and then we got Tommy Söderström, the goalie from the Flyers. Woo! Welcome in, sir. Thank you very much for coming.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your pod.
Thank you again. The reason why we had you on, of course, is I recently put out an article about you, and it did rather well. You are still very favored over here. A lot of people were just sending so many messages to me, like happy that I did the article and sharing, special memories they had of, remembering when you were here with the Flyers. So it was very well received, and you're very well liked still here in the Philadelphia area for sure.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, and it warms my heart. So I had a great time when I was in Philly, and I just love to play in front of the fans, and I love the spectrum and the team and the organization. So it was a really, really good time in my life.
Awesome.
But I got traded, so it ended. So that's part of the game. So
yep, the business side of things, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But following up with what Lance was saying, though, is that the fact that people still have really good, fond memories of your time here, and that fact that the fans still had a lot of good things to say about when you were here, you know what I mean? And this article brought up a lot of those, really good things, really good feelings, especially from the fan side of things, hearing about how you're doing, hearing about what's going on with you, and then, just the fact that you were able to play for the Flyers. So thank you very much for your time here, man.
Yeah. Thanks, same to you, and thanks to the fans. And like I said, the fans was really nice to me when I was there, and I think maybe they liked me because I always took my times off the games and off the practices, and once in a while I went out on a lunch with some of them, and so for me it was really good. And I remember when I walked from the Spectrum to the car. Back then the car was outside Spectrum, so it was a lot of fans. Usually good games, it took maybe go to the car, and I spoke to everybody, and I took picture with everybody who wanted it. So I really liked it, and I hope they did too. It sounds like that when you say like you say.
Yeah, definitely good, and that's saying something because the Flyers have been through a carousel of goalies over the years, and a lot of fault always gets put on the goalies here. It's a very tough city to play in, as you know, but you are still in the good graces here. So I guess we'll start off with some questions. Everybody got familiar with the article and all or refamiliar, I guess, with your time here and your career. So we'll just dive into a couple of questions if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course. And I had a good story about what you said in the beginning there, that the goalies at the Flyers have had a hard time. I have one of my best friend of girls, Jennifer. She lives in Philly, and she once in a while come over to Sweden and visit me. And she always tried to give me a hard time, and she always say like, yeah, Flyers had never had a good goaltender, including me.
Wow.
And always when she say that, we're all laughing, but she and me. So she do it with a warm heart, but we laugh a lot about it.
That's funny.
That's great.
Yeah, it's funny. And she's still one of my best friends, so we're good.
Yeah,
We
you gotta
think of
have
you as
friends
one of
like
the
that.
better goalies that's been here with the Flyers, so you tell her that she's a little bit wrong.
I'm gonna do that next time.
Okay.
So Tommy, I gotta ask, like, what made you? I did a lot of research, of course, but what made you want to play goalie? You said you started out playing on the ponds and stuff in Sweden.
Yeah, I played where we lived, and
Yeah.
we were just kids who play outside the houses. And one of my friend's father, he was a coach for the team where I lived, and he asked me the last practice of the year he said, we just have one goalie. Do you want to try to be a net? Because yeah, and then I tried. And I liked it. So I never been playing out, and it was a good question from him, and that how do you say in English? It was a good decision that I tried it, and I'm happy for that.
That's awesome. And I kind of told you, I had got inspired to play because of you, to play net because of you, because I remember as a kid going to games and my dad sprung for season tickets behind the net
Yeah,
and all because I was getting interested in playing goal, mostly because at that time you were in that and I gotta say, I gotta give you credit, like that really sprung me to the want to play. So I thank you for that for sure.
thank you. It warms my heart. And did I wave to you? Because a lot of times I wave to kids behind the net or in the
Yeah,
stand.
yeah, definitely. I definitely believe you did. I had my little Tommy Söderström jersey on and all. Of course, the last name went all the way down half my arms and stuff
Right.
like that. But it was awesome. Yeah, always good experience from you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's always nice when you can meet people that you've inspired. You know what I mean? It's always nice when you can kind of do that full circle. You know what I'm saying? And Lance, you get to actually talk to somebody who's inspired you. You know what I mean? That's why we were really excited about having you on here, Tommy. And that's why we were like, yeah, he's going to be on. All right, cool. More goalies.
Yeah, but
Sure.
I remember that the thing you said, because when I was a kid in Sweden, I wrote a letter to my idol, and he was a goaltender for the team I played for later on when I get older, and his name was Roffe Riddervall, and I sent him a letter, and he sent me a card with a signature and stuff like that. And
Wow.
maybe 4 or 5 years later, we played on the same team for Jordan. And then he left for another team, and he played for the national team, Tre Kronor. And then I became a Tre Kronor goaltender also. So we played the World Championship together in '91, and then we played Canada Cup
Wow.
'91 together. And eventually I beat him, so I was number one goalie in Tre Kronor. But he's still my idol, and every time I see him, if I go to a game with Djurgården and I see him in the stands, I do like this to him and kiss his feet. So he always laughs every time when I do that to him. So
That's
I have idols when I was a kid also, and he inspired me. So long story, but
no,
he was
that's great.
No,
yeah.
awesome. Steele, you got a question?
I do. Okay. So we everybody's got labels for things today, and you look people looking at influences of how you model your game after, like Lance said, he kind of took influences from you and that inspired him to be the goalie, and you talked about your idol, Tommy. So how would you label your style of play as a
Uh,
goalie?
as a stand-up goalie, because I was so small, so I needed to stand up and I needed to read the game really good. And was that how you played, Lance?
I did play a stand-up style.
Yeah.
Definitely. I was also a little acrobatic, as you were as well. Pretty much do anything I could after the play started to break down to stop the puck for sure. But I'm only 5'11" now, so I was definitely a stand-up goalie to
Yeah.
protect
How,
as much of that as possible. So.
how tall is I in your counting? You said you're 5'11". I'm
Yeah,
is I 5'9" or?
you were as drafted. I don't know. I got a lot of over the years. I guess you grew a little bit. It said 5'9"
I just
when
grew.
you were drafted, and then it at towards the end of your career, it had you labeled as high as like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, okay, I
So
see. Yeah. Did you start from the middle of the net also?
I
The-
yeah,
Like
in the back like that. Yeah, that's I did early on. I did early on for sure. It helped me get a position, like my positioning down where I knew I was in the net for sure. And I kind of took Hexy's thing too, where I hit the post to kind
yeah,
of know where I am in net at all times. I think both those things kind of help me with my angles and stuff. So
uh, I could say like this: if I come up now,
yeah.
in the 2020 or 2021, I shouldn't been an NHL goalie because my style is dead for maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, mine too. I still play that style, and most guys now are flopping all around, and I just don't think I can cover as much net that way, or can stretch as good as some of those guys do with acrobatic splits all the way across the bottom of the net and stuff.
Yeah,
So
no, no,
Plus,
that's
they
so.
keep making the pads smaller, and
yeah,
Plus,
Yeah,
the other thing too is a lot of the goalies these days are over 6 foot. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So even if they are a butterfly, or even if they go down, those types of goalies, they still go down to their knees. Well, heck, some of them are still so tall that they can still see even though they're down on their knees.
I played once in a while games with. There's a team in Sweden called Tre Kronor Legends. It's all the Tre Kronor national team players, like Bengt-Åke Gustafsson. You remember him? Play for Washington. Or Mats Näslund is on the
Yep.
team. Lille Lindström. Yeah, we're a lot of guys. And one time we played in Finland against Finland,
Oh
and
wow.
we practiced in the morning, and another team practiced also because they had a national team tournament there for the team for the guys who play now. So the goalie saw me when I come out with my pads, and they said like, "What is that? Is that a joke?" And I saw how much they were laughing, and I said like, "Okay, you can laugh at me, but these pads made a couple of world championship goals and a couple of Olympics. So I said it not cocky, but just for fun, and they were start laughing. So
for sure, for sure.
and like my old goalie coach, we were on a show in Sweden for maybe 10 years ago, and he said like back then in the 90s, goaltenders, take this right now, uh, goaltenders needed to have more, what's he said, talent back then because you really did the same. Now the goalies work the angle. You can get a decent goalie really good now if he's good, practice hard and stuff like that. And that
Right,
was not that easy back then. That's what he said, but I don't know. But
Well, that's a good coach, man. You know what I mean?
right.
and the
So
thing is now, my way to see it is when I look on the goaltenders on TV or stuff like that. Before I could say like just to see the pads, okay, that's Kelly Rudy or that's Tom Barrasso, or just to see the pads. But now all the goalies look pretty much the same, so I can't tell which one it is.
Yeah.
That's my experience. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Right.
the goalies now pretty much look the same.
Very similar. Very similar. Yeah.
But they're really good, so they stop the puck.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So at what point did you actually think you could make a career out of playing when you were coming up as a kid?
Pretty late, actually. I was never like from the beginning thinking that okay, I wanted to make it to NHL, because NHL back then you didn't really know anything about it in Sweden. But I took year by year, and when I was 15, I wanted to come to a better team, and when I was 18, I wanted to come a step further all the time. And then I come up to the first team, Djurgården, who play in the highest league, like second goalie. And I remember my first season, I just played 4 games behind my idol, Rafa Ridwall. It was so boring to play 4 games. I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit after this season. But then he moved to another team, so I get the shot then, and I'm happy for that. But
it's all about waiting for your time.
Yeah, but answering your question there is when I come up and then I started to play for the national team, and then I maybe start thinking, okay, maybe I could make it to the NHL, and they drafted me late, so yeah, I was lucky.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you got to be drafted. You got to go through that whole experience of being drafted and all that other stuff. So what was it like being drafted? I mean, I know things are much different today, where there's much more TV coverage, and they have all these major TV events where they show the first round and everything. But what was it like for you to actually get drafted? Was that kind of like a coronation of the fact that, yes, I can make it into the NHL? You came up through, you played for the junior teams, you got to play with your idol and then play on the national team. And then when you got drafted, I mean, how did that make you feel getting drafted?
Of course, it was really nice to hear about it, but I think I heard about it maybe a couple of days after. On the summer practice, like running and stuff. And I think my coach told me. And because, like you said, it was not the coverage back then.
Right.
I don't know when I get drafted. Was it 89 or I don't know. I don't remember. But
I think it was 89, 90. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inge Hammarström, I think he was the coach, the scout for Sweden for the Flyers. So he was the guy who pushed for me, I guess. So thank you very much to him.
Smart man. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we thank him too.
But it was really nice. But like you said, I was I 212 or something?
I think you were in the 11th round. Yeah, 214th in the 1990 draft. Yeah.
So I was not a hot shot to get drafted, but fortunately I got a chance either way. So
that's awesome. So how did it feel to play for your home country? You mentioned it a little bit already, but I imagine that being such an honor, to almost more so than getting drafted or something sometime, because that's a reality that you would see before that point, I guess.
Yeah, to play for the national team is like the biggest thing you can do in Sweden, and represent your country for the world champion or the Olympics. And
World
I know
juniors,
World juniors, we play in Anchorage. I remember 89.
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of it, you don't think so much about it. Of course, you're proud, but it's more after your career, after you stop playing, that you think like, okay, I played a couple of Olympics, I played the World Cup a couple of times, or and then the Canada Cup. It sink in more after when you stop playing, especially for me. I don't know how it is for other people, but when I was in NHL, it was like a natural thing when you become there and get the number on the jersey. So then you don't think so much about it.
I think that's you mentioned Anchorage and stuff. I think that's where you really were brought to the forefront, especially during the Soviet game, is where you really shined.
Okay.
And people over here, realized, holy crap, this guy, is pretty
This guy can
good.
stop the puck.
That was a heck of a team you had to face there, and you
Yeah, it
you
was.
did really well at that point, and that's why I think scouts and everything really took notice of you for sure on over from this side. So.
Yeah, but I think the breakthrough for me to come to NHL was like Canada Cup '91.
Yes, too.
We
Yes.
played in Toronto a lot of games, and we played against Canada. And I got when I got the shot in the face from Steve Larmer in
Yeah.
the semifinal, and I still played after that. I think that's what Flyers like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
That's
stitch him
Flyers
up and send him
hockey.
back out there. He's good to go, right?
Right.
It
Right.
was a good shot. And since I have a
Yeah.
big nose, so the net pushed into my nose and I started bleeding. But
Okay.
it was fun.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound like fun if you ask me. So, yeah, I got a kind of an odd question here for you, and this is what was your you have some different choices in equipment that you use.
Yeah.
Okay, and some of the things that kind of stood out to me was the fact that you didn't have like a normal cage like most of all the goalies did. You know that you didn't have this completely decorated helmet like they do now. It wasn't all painted. It was more like just a straight cage. I mean, what was the reasoning behind that?
The only reason was that I felt claustrophobic in
Oh, okay.
a mask. So for me, it was no choice to wear that. I tried once or twice or a couple of times, and I still have a picture of it when I on the warm up one game with a mask, and I got a lot of question on that on Facebook. Uh, because I think some guy bought that mask from somebody, and he asked me if I had worn it, and then I find a picture of it, so he was happy that it was authentic. So, but I like
Well,
the big net or mask or whatever you say, because I could see all the angles that I could see down, and with the mask I couldn't do that. So and I didn't felt protected with a mask. I don't know why. So I can't believe the goalies now who play with a mask and no what do you call this? The dingle.
Neck protector. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I still see some of them wear it.
If you
Yeah.
get a slap shot here, you're fucking dead. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I used to play with the normal player's helmet as well. Started out early, mostly because of you and Hashik wearing it later on, and I agree. I could see a lot more playing with that.
Yeah.
I felt it more when a slap shot or something came for sure, but
Yeah.
uh, later on, I only progressed once I was able to wear the cat eye with the bigger holes in the
Yeah.
regular mask. I felt I could wear it then, but
Yeah.
I agree. I could see so much more with just the regular helmet with a regular cage or whatever on it. So,
And
but go
yeah,
ahead.
but my ugly bird case, like they call it the bird cage.
That's funny.
It's really hot stuff now on Facebook, because I'm in some groups with like vintage goaltending equipment or whatever it is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I get a lot of question if I have any spares of them and the net or the helmet. And it seems like a lot of people want to get a hold of it now. So it's fun to see that actually.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite defenseman that you had a chance to play with in NHL? I know I had my favorite growing up, a kind of a guy that you always just felt when he was on the ice, it you were just settled. You knew what he was going to do. He knew what you wanted him to do. Did you have anybody like that?
Uh, Pretty much everybody, I guess. But
Yeah.
I didn't. What can I say? I remember Gary Galley. He was really a good defenseman, and he was experienced. So yeah, but I didn't have. What can I say? Uh, if you, when you're a goaltender, you don't think that way. If you have anybody who's better than somebody else.
Well, I guess at that level of play too, they're all pretty darn good at that
Yeah,
point, you know.
that is
Yeah.
so.
That would make sense. You know what I mean? That if you would get to that level, you would expect guys to play a certain way. You know what I mean? So, okay. Here's another one for you now. What we there's a lot of.
But you said that you thought you know one of the guys was my favorite.
No, I was saying when I was playing, I know I
Oh,
always
okay.
grew up playing
Oh,
with one particular guy. Like when he stepped on the ice, like we just got it. You know what I
yes,
mean? Between it, like he would leave the shooter to me. He wouldn't try to cheat over and
yeah,
mess up me taking that shot, or I knew what he was going to do with a puck per se. When I just felt more relieved when he was on the ice because it was we were like almost a telepathic sense, to it. I guess.
it's like a marriage, eh?
I guess, yeah.
So, who was your favorite teammate from your time here in Philadelphia?
I would like to say Pelle Eklund.
Okay.
And one of the reasons is, of course, that we could speak about everything, and we could speak about the people in Sweden, and we understand each other. It's easier than if you have an American or Czech or a Canadian or stuff like that. So I would like to say Pelle Eklund.
Okay,
Cool.
that's awesome. That also makes it a little easier when you can have somebody that's kind of like your countryman to be, take that ride with you a little bit, kind of have some of those same experiences so that you can kind of share stories because you guys kind of been from the same place. You know what I mean?
And when we were on the road, we always go out and have dinner before the game and hang out. So it's usually that's the way it works, I guess. You hang with your fellow
Countryman.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anybody during your time in the NHL, who was that one player that you really didn't want to see on a breakaway?
There was a couple, I could tell you that. Matt Sundin,
Yeah.
Oh,
Jagger, Lemieux. Uh, when you know pretty much when they come down that this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I think during your time too, I mean, I think there was a lot more, I don't know, greater superstars. Uh, there's a lot more players or teammates that are just, decent, maybe 20 goal scorers nowadays, but during that time it was just like some elite level talent that far surpass, maybe you have Ovechkins, maybe you have Crosby's and such now, but I thought there was so much more of them. There was during your time when you played, at least in my mind.
Yeah, it could be right. I'm not really familiar with all the players now, but you have a couple now, like you said, Ovechkin, Matthews, or
Yeah.
these guys. But like you said, back then it was pretty much on every team there were like 3, 4, 5 guys who was really, really skilled, who pretty much scored the most of the goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't take away from the skill that was of the players from back in those days. It's
Yeah.
it's really amazing, and then you see how things have progressed to where they are today, where you have guys like Austin Matthews, and you have guys like Connor McDavid's, and you have guys like that are kind of taking over for those next wave of stars and stuff like that. So I wouldn't want to face shots from any one of those guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I can tell you this: when you played against the Pittsburgh, when it's a penalty, like who come in, Jagger, Lemieux,
I would not want to face that.
Sandstrom. Who did they have on the defense?
Samuelson.
Yeah,
A
it's
lot.
behind you. pretty much all the time. So it was tough days.
Cool. What I have another equipment question here for you, because I know we've been kind of focusing on that, but why did you not have any tape on your stick?
Because it's glide better on the ice. That's why I didn't have it. And I was such a bad passer. I couldn't shoot the puck. It didn't matter if I had tape on it or not.
Okay. Because you see guys now have like a whole roll of tape at the top, like where the knob is, you know what I mean? And then they tape their blades and everything like that. But you didn't have any tape on your stick. All right. Okay.
No. And all the time when I left the net, I'm gonna pass the puck. I was ashamed because I know I'm so bad on this. And you see other goaltender like Tom Barrasso, Hextall, they could shoot it all over the ice.
Yeah.
I tried to compensate it with other things though, but
you used your stick to make saves instead of pass the puck.
Once in a while I did.
Yeah. That's great. Now, was it a hard transition from you coming over as far as the ice goes, the Olympic size down to NHL faster paced game?
Yes, I would like to say that. Yes, I remember my first training camp. My first game, we played Quebec on the road, and I got pulled after 10 goals. And Mats and Dean play on Quebec. I was like, Mats, don't score on me again now. And I got pulled after 10 goals. And then when I'm going to go back to US, it was something wrong with my visa. And so I needed to stay a couple of extra days. And then I come back to Philly. And then we played against New Jersey and at home. And after half the game, we were down 1-4. So I was like, okay, am I so fucking bad? Excuse my language. Because I played like in the Olympics, and I played the World Championship, and I won in the league in Sweden. So in the beginning, I thought it was tougher than I thought it's going to be. So,
we're glad it worked out. We're glad it worked out that you were able to overcome that toughness. And speaking of overcoming some things, we're going to get a little personal here, if you don't mind.
Of course.
You were diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome.
Yes.
And what was that like, hearing that for the first time? I mean, from somebody who is athletic, plays a lot, works out a lot, runs, is in shape, and then you hear something like this from the doctor. How did that really kind of affect you?
Pretty much nothing, I would like to say. The only thing was tough. It was because I was pulled after 10 goals, and then I wasn't so good the second game, and then I got my heart problem. So I couldn't really prove myself. And they told me that they saw something on my EKG. Is that how you say?
Yeah.
They said you need probably an operation. And I told them, like, I could sign papers that if I die on the ice, nobody's going to sue you or stuff like that. But I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
So back then, I don't know. I went back to Sweden because it's going to take a while before the operation. I don't know why. And then I fly back, and then I had a couple of operations. So I think it actually ended up with 5, but I think it was 2 or 3 in the beginning. But Philadelphia was really nice because after my first one I think it was at the Hanneman Hospital. Is that in Philly? Yeah, I think it was that. It didn't work out, so they flew over my family, my parents and my brother.
Wow.
First class. And then a limo picked them up at the airport, and they stayed at the hotel for a week, and they visited me at the hospital. So that was really classy of them. And that's what's even before I started to play full time with the Flyers. So all credit to the family organization for that.
Yeah.
Wow,
Definitely.
that's awesome. And so you said there was a total of 5 surgeries?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And
2 years or something like that.
Okay. And please excuse my ignorance, but what exactly did they have to do on the surgeries? Did they have to do heart surgery itself?
Yes, they did 5 heart surgeries. They went into my groins and through my up here with the neck or something, and they went up with whatever you call it in English, I don't know, but and then tried to burn the extra nerve I had in my heart. But since it was so close to the regular system, they couldn't burn as much as they wanted.
Okay.
So that's why it didn't. Because if they burn too much, I'm gonna have a pacemaker, and then probably couldn't play anymore. So
right. Okay.
So that's what they did. And the first operation was like 13 hours or something like that.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
The second was the same, but then it progressed better, so it was like 5 or 6. So I was pretty sore on my back after the first 2 ones.
I bet.
It was really bad to lay on, I can tell you that.
Mm.
I can only imagine. Well, I can't. I've had multiple operations as well too, so I can sympathize with being on the table. You know what I mean? So, but thank you very much for answering that. Too.
What kind of operation do you have?
Oh gosh,
you don't talk about it here. I don't know.
Well, I wasn't a goalie like you guys. Okay, I played football. I played center, and I had my knees pretty much ruined from that, and I've had multiple operations on my knee, and then in 2015 I had it replaced.
Okay, cool.
So I'm familiar with being on the table, that's for sure.
The good thing with operations was, maybe I shouldn't say it loud though, but you know when you wake up during the operation, because I had so long, 13 hours, they couldn't give me like whatever they put in your body. What is it, morphine or something? I don't know. So every time when I wake up, I said, yeah, just give me more, I said, and I was laughing. And they pushed it in again, and then I knocked out right away. So, that was
we're glad that they were able to take care of everything. And so everything's good now? I mean, you're okay? I mean, no issues or problems or anything?
No problems at all.
Awesome. That's great.
Awesome. And I have another good story. Maybe you don't think it's so fun, but I think it's fun. I did a vasectomy. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do it for maybe 5-6 years ago. And the fun story about it is like you come in there and you have like green stuff on you get from the hospital, and you have nothing under. And then they ask you, say, okay, you can lay on the bed here. And she said, okay, is this your personal number? And your name is Tommy Söderström? Yeah, that's me. And okay, you can lay up on your bed. And then she said, like, Tommy, when I was laying there naked and I showed my, you know what I mean? And, yeah, Tommy, I have been on so many games on you on the Globe. The Globe was my arena where I played in Sweden. So I thought it was really funny in that position that she brought it up, that I had played hockey and that she had seen me. So
and you're laying there all completely exposed.
Yeah, I did. Maybe it wasn't so professional from her, but for me, I was just laughing. So it was a fun story.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So switching topics here. What do you think your greatest accomplishment in playing was? Of course, you had, a great showing at the World Juniors, the Canada Cup, 3 championships in your home country there, which is, now equates to the SHL. If you guys following, don't know that, a world championships, your time in the NHL. What would you consider your greatest accomplishment?
I think it's the whole picture that I had a lot of luck to play on good teams who won a lot of championships. And because I know a lot of players go through a whole career and maybe NHL for 20 years and they never go pretty far. So that's the most thing that I'm maybe happiest about. And like you said, accomplish the best maybe could be it's tough to say straight out. So no,
maybe not the best, but which one like sticks out in your mind was like your greatest experience out of the whole bunch?
92 World Championship in Prague. We were like 16 debutants and rookies on the tournament. And the media, we were playing really bad in the first couple of games. So in the newspaper, in the middle of the newspaper, it was 2 black sides, nothing said on it, and in the bottom it says like this team sucks or something like that. You know,
man.
But that was before the playoffs started, the quarterfinals and stuff, and then we won the whole thing. So it was fun, and I was young, and you know, when you come back to Sweden, you fly on the plane, and the 2 what do you call it in English? 2 planes come up on the side from the army. Do you know?
Yeah, formation.
Yeah.
Formation. They transport us to Arlanda in Stockholm, and then you take the bus was there, and then maybe it was like 50,000 people when we come to the town.
Wow.
And cheered us when we came off the bus. And we were on a big square. So when you're 22, 21, you know, 23, it's like you're on the top of the world. So it was a lot of party that summer, I can tell you that.
that sounds like that would be a major experience. It would be, you know, I too have been able to win when I played in my sport. We had won state championships 2 years in a row. And then the experience to win like that is, you know, it's beyond. It's like what you talked about, Tommy, where a lot of players that play in the NHL and they don't win anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they play for 20 years and they never get to sniff that championship or anything like, and especially with the experiences that you've had where you had all those championships and played on those national teams and stuff like that. So that's really awesome. Now, my next question for you is this. What are you doing now that hockey's over? What's part of life like now for you?
Pretty much nothing, I would like to say. I quit for 20 years ago, and when I come back from NHL, I signed a 5-year deal with my old team in Sweden, Djurgården. But I start to lose interest in playing. So maybe after my 2nd year, I was like, fuck, this is not so fun anymore. But I play my 3rd year. But after that, I say, no, I'm done. So I went up to the GM and I said, okay, today you have won a lottery. And he said, why? You know, you don't need to pay me for 2 more years because I'm going to quit today. So you can use the money because I was good paid then, and you can use it for some other players. And that was 2000. And after that, I did nothing for a year, and then I bought a dog. So his name was Roffe, after my idol, Roffe Ridderwall. And so my life is pretty much dog, racquetball, golf, and summertime at my summer house, and stocks. I'm a long-term investor in stocks. So I've been lucky that I made enough money when I played in the NHL, and then I put them on the stock market, and so they grew pretty big. So I do pretty much nothing, and I enjoy that.
Enjoying the retired life.
Yes.
Nice.
A lot of people shouldn't like my life because I do pretty much nothing, but for me, it's I like it. So, and now I have a new dog, and he's 7. So, but after him, I'm gonna travel a lot. So that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. After that, I love to travel.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I think you know, we've been on with you for a while. I would just like to wrap it up with asking you one more question and saying, do you have any words of wisdom for young goaltenders that are aspiring to, you know, get to the NHL or just coming up altogether? Like any words of wisdom for them to moving forward?
Pretty much just have fun and live in the, how do you say in English? Live in the now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say.
Yeah.
And then get as much as you can, because just live day by day and try to do your best.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
that's so awesome. Thank you for coming on with us. It's a truly an honor to get to sit down and speak to you. And you know, just know that back here in Philly, you are definitely you know, still in the good graces here. And anytime you would want to come over this way, it would be much appreciated. Whatever. You know, get to see you guys again for any we have a Flyers alumni and stuff that play over here, so I don't know if you could get up with them or whatever. Just great to see you, great to get up with you and know what you're doing nowadays.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. And like I said before, I'm proud that you wanted to have me. And thank you to all the fans. Like I said to you before when I spoke to you, that they were so nice to me, and they make my my stay over in Philly really awesome. So thank you for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't even express to you how much of a thrill this has been for me. I got to watch you. I'm a little bit older than Lance, so I was a little older when I started watching hockey. And when I first started watching hockey, you were in the net. And this was right when Lindros was coming in, you know what I mean? So I got to see that whole beginning of that era for the Flyers, and that's when I first started watching hockey. And so watching you and Net stopping those pucks there for a long time was a real inspiration for me as well too. Not to play hockey, because I can't skate to save my life. But Tommy, thank you very much for being on the show, man. We really appreciate it. We really love your insight on things. We loved your stories, and I'm not gonna be shy. I'm gonna come right out and say it. We'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, just give me a buzz, and I tell you a lot more stories if you want. And
that would be great.
For sure.
And anytime you come over here to Philadelphia, you have to let us know, because me and Lance will take you out to dinner.
That sounds great to me. And like I said, I don't travel a lot now when I have my dog.
Right.
But after him, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna stay at my friend's house, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna see you guys.
You got it.
Awesome.
Also.
Good deal.
Right. Don't forget that now.
Okay.
All right, hold you to it. Yeah,
we're holding you to that now. We're holding you to that. Thank you very much for being on here. Is there any particular type of charity or anything like that you would like to plug, or anything like that would be an opportunity for you to do so right now if you'd like?
I don't have anyone on my mind right now, so
okay.
But thanks for the question.
Yeah, no problem. And if at any time in the future you have any projects that you would like to do and you would like to have a voice, by all means, you can feel free to use this platform as your voice.
Okay, thanks. That's nice to hear.
Thank you very much for being here. I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers, our host,
Lance Green, as always.
And this is the Hockey Writers Inc. We had a special guest today, Tommy Söderström from the Flyers, the goalie from the Flyers. Thank you very much for being here with us today, folks. We'll catch you all again on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc.
Thank you.